My name is Jeremiah Toon, and I've been coming to Celebration Church for over 10 years. So when we first started coming here, it was really just showing up and coming to Sunday morning service and leaving. There was not a lot of thought of volunteering. At the time that we were kind of in that 5 or 6 year time period, there was a lot of talk, and I was starting to hear a lot about receiving the gift of the Holy Spirit and just having that deeper relationship with God. And it was something that I was really, truly desiring. And so during one service, I was sitting there and I really heard a still small voice in my ear. And it just said, go to Risen Camp. And at the time, I had no affiliation with anybody in church that was in that age category, let alone any leaders that were going there. And so I thought it was just such a weird thing to hear. So a number of weeks later, I told my wife that this is what I heard at church. And she was saying, well, then you need to follow that call. The experience at Risen Camp was really awkward and felt very foreign at the very beginning because I didn't know anyone, and that was not something that I was used to. So I would say even up until the end of the second night at 2 a.m, I was still asking God why I was at Risen Camp. For a number of years, I've actually had a background in photography and been taking photos of my kids and from other events and things like that. And so on the third day, I had met the media team lead, and he had asked if I wanted to take some photos. And I was like, whoa, that feels not maybe more of why I was supposed to be here. And I really feel like the biggest change for me was the third night, where there is a night called Holy Spirit Night at Risen Camp. And I really felt like I was touched during that day, not because I felt comfortable taking photos at that time, but it really opened up my eyes to the need of prayer for the young people at church. And it really gave me an opportunity to pray for the kids that I felt like really needed it. And it was something that I truly felt at home, to be able to invite and encourage people to pray and to give them maybe something they'd never had before. And it was really cool to start to hear some stories of people that had been impacted by whether my presence or the prayer that had been given. And none of this I took credit for, because it wasn't why I had gone. I was just following the call of God. And I've developed some really great friendships through this volunteering and serving in the photography team. I am still serving on the photography team, and I still feel like it's such a great blessing to be able to serve in that capacity so that I can continue to give back. So I think my perspective has shifted drastically from the time that before I started serving to now having served the last 5 or so years. When we first started to attend, it was we're just going to a church. And it had changed, and it now has shifted into, this is my church, this is our church, this is our family's church. And it's an opportunity where we can serve and give back. And it's really altered my perspective on what a church looks like. Because for a long time, I thought church was just so that I could get something from it and I could really receive. I could come and listen to the messages and apply those into my life. And now it's shifted into a place where, yes, I do still get fed, but I can also be somebody that contributes and serves and helps other people in the areas that I feel called into. And I'm grateful that it's an opportunity that I can give back to people and give back to God's church and allow us to reach more people for Him.